Hello, here's Zach Dai. So in last video, we showed you how to use web scraper to scrape information. However, we also mentioned that in some websites they cannot use this free tool to scrape. So today I will introduce a better way to do web scraping, but this one you do need some coding experience. So, but if you don't have, don't worry. We will have the detailed code for you. Just need to know how to run it. The first thing is we're talking about Python with the web scraping here. Our target is to scrape the indeed. So first, let's open Indeed and I search the data analyst Toronto, Ontario. Let's find a job. Okay, this is Indeed website. If you click on each link, it will show you the job details. Actually, this kind of another page, but embedded in this main page. We will talk about it later. First, let's try to use the web scraper to scrape. Let's try web scraper. Create a new website. Set map. Indeed. The URL. Okay, let's try to create a new selector. First, we need the box, right? We need a lost kind of box. It's kind of one box is one job, so let's select. However, you can see here, if you click on select, there's no select tool showing up in this website. So which means Indeed actually blocked web scraper. So you cannot use web scraper to scrape Indeed. And some website also has this kind of setting, but not all of them you can test. So in this way, we have to do some advanced web scraping tools to scrape that. Before I start, I will introduce a tool which is called Colab. Let's search Google Colab. First one. Okay. And if you first log in, it will ask you to log in with your Google account, but I think most of you will have it. That would be not an issue. If not, you just register one. And once you come to here, it will tell you what it does. If when you have time, you can watch that. It will teach you how to use Python in the web, in this web. The advantage for this website is it provides free runtime for Python. You don't have to install the Python in your machine, and you don't even need some common libraries. It's pre-installed into the Colab. The only thing you need to do is use file, new notebook. Okay, then you can write code here. First, let's rename this one into Indeed scraper. This environment is called Jupyter Notebook. You can write your code and test one by one. You don't have to finish all the code like C, C#, use debugging. You don't have to do that. It's a simple environment. I will talk that later. And here is where we write our code to scrape the Indeed. Okay, let's come back to the website. And another thing we need to learn is previously we learned about the web scraper. In the previous example, we can see if we open any sitemap, for example, let's say KGG, this one, and we have a box and the link. Let's add it. We can see here is a tag element. For example, this one is called A. Let's look at another one. It's called div.price. But what it is? is called HTML tags. So at least you need to know the basic idea is if the HTML is the truth of the HTML is actually a file. Let's look at the right click. This time we just use the viewed source page source to see that. See, this is exactly the same thing when you look at this page. This is the code, and this rendered by the Chrome. So they are the same. And in Chrome, it provides us a useful tool which is called inspect, which you've already used that before. Let's add that. For example, let's say these elements. We have web scraper here, still remember that. But in the element, it shows you the code for this element. Let's use the select element here to select the first job. And if you click on that, it shows you it's an A tag. And the A tag has some attributes, some called ID, some called hyperreference, and some others. So you need to tell the web scraper what the tag it is. If you don't want just do click, you can change that by your own as well. And in the coding, we need to do the same thing. And notice that if we change this view to the horizontal, we can see if we can put it side by side. If we expand this h2 means header 2, like your word is header. See, it's the kind of layers. If you click on this one, it shows this is the whole box. So this is the box, and expand that. Under the box, we have title. See, the class is title, and the tag is called h2. Within this sharp bracket, we have the tag. Each element is called a tag. That's the basic element in HTML. So that's the ideas you need to know. And another thing is from the top to the bottom. The higher is the bigger one. So first you need a very high level, which is called a body, to hold all this element. And within each element, you can add some more to that element. So the target of web scraping is how to find the correct tag, not the content, but the text. If you can find that, then you will be fine. Okay, so for example, let's say this International Product Analyst Canada. The easiest way is just to search the H2, or we can search some element that with a class called title. Both are right. And for you guys maybe think, okay, this kind of nothing to do with me. I don't want to learn coding. I don't want to understand the HTML. If that's the case, there's another tool can make things a little bit easier, but you still need to understand the basic, but you don't have to write your own. Let's close this inspection first. If you go to Chrome Store and search XPath Helper, there's a tool. After you install that, you will see this kind of icon, XPath Helper, on your screen. This time, let's say, still on this page, we click on the XPath Helper here, and it shows you a box. You can type, for example, let's say //h2. It shows you all the titles here. See that? All titles here. So, but if you don't want to write this one, you just hold your shift and move your mouse to the element that you want to select. For example, this one. It shows you all the details about how to get this element in a syntax called XPath. And for here, the // this always start from top, which is HTML, then the body, and this kind of table body, something like that. But the thing is, if we can find a good identifier inside here, we don't have to go to the top. So in this syntax, for example, let's say h2 class title. If we remove the front one and switch the slash to double slash means starts with any element. It will search the entire thing to find any element that contains h2, which has a class called title and has a. Usually we do that for a link. So now we can see there's ID for A, so we only get 1. If we remove the ID here, we get all 14 elements here. 14 elements here. Some of them are blank, but what we need here is the link, which we call at, which means the attribute. Correct. Now we get the link for each of these link. For example, let's say if we copy one, copy this one, and we open another window. Let's duplicate this one, change because sometimes the link doesn't contain the domain. The domain here is indeed.com, so we just add indeed.com in the front. Then we go to this page. It shows you the detail of this job, which is in the previous page. We can find it here. See, this is the job, and that link links to the detail. If you click on here, this content shows you. Let's close that for a while. This content shows exactly the same thing as this page. So basically, if you want more detail about this job, we should get this link and go into this link to get more details. From here, we can get the title, the company, and the job description, right? So we can get lots of information, just like what we did in the monster. Okay, so this is the idea how you find information from the website. Let's start with some coding. Try to follow me if you can. If you can't, just pause the video, then figure that out. What is it? We have created the indeed scraper in the previous one. Remember, we go to the collab, open file, new not workbook, and create one. Rename that into indeed scraper. And this file, you don't have to save it. It's automatically saved into your Google Drive. So if you open your Google Drive, you can find this file. For the privacy reason, I won't open my G drive here, but you can test that later. Let's import requests. Think about it when you try to go to a website. The only thing you need is this URL, right? The most common way to get a web page is try to make a request and get that page by the URL, right? So that's what we actually do. So in Python, we have a library called request, which is very easy to use. You don't have any setting. You just do like plain English. First thing, only things you need to import. For any library in Python, you have to import it first, then you can use it. So for example, let's say URL equal to, here we need a quote because the URL in any language is kind of string. So you cannot just put the URL here. You have to convert that into a string. So let's do it. So this Q is data and this L is Toronto. You should be able to read that at some point. And we don't need the rest, but we can keep it here. The thing is, we want to make a request and store the page into a variable which is called res. If you don't know that, later I will show you. I have another video may come out later to explain the basic of Python. But here you can just follow me. Request.get this URL. Okay, now let's the URL. Let's do print that out. Res content. Let's see what is the content inside that page. So do this. Okay, here is the same thing as what we saw in the source page, right? For example, we can find some link here. It's the same as what we saw in the source page. For example, let's say we've seen that before. Via source page here. So this is kind of this page. But Indeed has special setting. When you try to log into the Indeed, it shows you sometimes a different result because they have a location tag detect. So this result may be not exactly same as this result, but still will be data analyst within the Toronto, Ontario. So it's the same. Okay, that's you call the content, how you call the content. The second thing is we've learned how to find this element, right? We know that this one is called H2, which is size 2 header. Let's try to get that one with the XPath first. Let's try to do H2 text. I think it's not directly under the H2, but A and H2. But if you don't know, it's fine. You just use the double slash to get any element within H2, one or more layers. So we get lots of names here. So let's see whether we can get the same output from that from the Python code. Let's create another code snippet. So this unit, we just click on the run button, we can run it, and we can create another one. After this one, all the variable, if you say equal, which means you define a variable, this variable can be used in the next, the following box. But here we need another library to pass that, which is converted byte here. It's kind of a string. For now, you don't have to understand the details for that. You can think that it's kind of string like the URL. Let's import LXML. Oh, sorry, should be another way. From XML import HTML. Right, we want to pass the HTML, so we use that. And the first thing is we want to convert the result to response to a page, because inside the page we can use XPath, otherwise we cannot use it. So let's just do HTML dot from string. You can see in Python it's very straightforward. From string res, but be careful here, it's not just res, it's res.content. We don't want res, but we want the content in the rest, which is this string. And then we can use the XPath, and let's say h2 equal to page dot XPath, and we have this code here. Let's copy that. It's better to use double quote if you copy paste here. Then we can print h2 out. In Jupyter Notebook, you don't have to put a print here. In the code, real code, you should do that, but here it's okay. If you put the variable in the last, it will print automatically. Let's do that. From some typo, sorry, typo. Okay, we can see we also get those kind of title here. See that? But it's not very clear because why? It's because this syntax will get any element inside H2 with the text, and we put that all together. It's not the best way for us to get the element. And the correct way is first, like what we did in the web scraper, we first get this box, and then inside the box we get each element here, right? But for the simplicity here, because I don't want to go to too much detail for now because it's maybe your first time to contact with some coding. What I'm going to do is I want to find this link. Again, how to use XPath to find it. Let's hold Shift to move that to this link. We can say H2A and add ID. Let's remove the previous one before the H2. If you're asking why I know how to modify this kind of path, is the first thing is the simpler the better, more general XPath the better. However, you still need to identify the things that what you need. Here, let's say, remember the double slash will give you all the link here, but we have ID. Let's remove the ID here. Okay, but A is not what we want. We want and the attribute which is called href. That one is your real link. It's your real link. Okay, it's your real link. Let's do the same thing. Do the same thing for the code. So for here, we just do a slight change. We don't want the H2, we want links. So we put the code here. Then now we print the links. Okay, we get this. Let's open one to see whether this one is correct or not. So we have this one. Let's just go directly to add a domain front. Go to the page. Okay, yes, that's correct. So this one is a job posting page. So that's what we need from here. Okay. So the only thing here is notice that we don't have the domain in the front. So we need to add a domain to those links. You don't have to do that one by one. We want a for loop. If you don't know, that's fine for now, but spend some time later if you do want to learn a programming language. And in Python, we have an easy way to write a for loop. First, let's put a domain here, which is the indeed.com. Indeed.com here. And after that, let's just say do links equal to square bracket link domain plus link. We should remove this slash plus link for link in links, right? So for every link in the links, this is called a list for a collection of the elements. For each element in that, we add a domain, and now we print the links again to see what we have now. Okay, now we get a correct URL. If you click on anyone, yeah, it's the page, right? So it's very convenient. And now the thing what we need to do is to get this page. Again, it's the same thing as what we did here. We get a URL and we make a request for for the link. Now we just make another request to get this detail page. So we can create another box. Let's say let's first make an example here. Link equal to link 0, which means we get first element in the computer science programming language. Usually we start with 0 rather than 1. So that's the thing you need to remember. And we do res1 equal to request dot get the link, right? And after that, we want to convert the resource to a page. We've already imported the library, so we don't have to do that again. It's page 1 equal to HTML dot from string So res1, don't forget the content. Okay. And now we are inside which page? This page. So that's here. And now we need to use the XPath again to find the title of this job. Let's go down. It's very long, but I can see clearly there's something called h1 dot title, right? So if you remove anything before that, it's h1 the first biggest title, and I don't see any similar font here. So let's try just remove the rest. Remove the class, because the class is very complicated and it might change because it has some ID or something else. Let's just do this one. Okay, it shows the result correct. Let's add one thing, because if you want a text, always add tags parentheses. The result is same, however in the code it's different. If you just do h1, it returns you the element, but if you add text, it's only the text. That's what we want. Let's do here. So the title one equal to the page 1.xpath and this one. Okay, then let's print it out. The title one should be the same. It's not the same for that. Why is that? Okay, maybe the first link is has some problem, but the second one, let's skip that one for now. For the second one, we get the MS Excel, something like that. Let's open the second link to check whether this information is correct or not. Okay, you can see the title is perfect. And after that, let's just do a simple, because I just want to keep this simple, let's just add this job description, which you might need to use if you want to analyze job in this course. So for your project, you can get those text information. Let's open the XPath again to shift, and with here, just look a little bit here. We get something like a job description text. Sounds like what we want. And we remove the front and change that to double slash, and you get only this one. No, we want all the content. Let's remove the P because we want them all P. Okay, see, now we select all the elements inside this box. So now let's add text. It's better to add a double slash here because we want all the text inside this box. Yeah. Now we get perfect result here. So let's try that in the code. It's same thing as what we did in title. So the easiest way is you, let's say job description equal to the same thing, page 1.xpath, and double quote paste here. And maybe someone already noticed that we have another square bracket here, which is called list in Python. That's a collection of the element. We don't want a collection, we just want a text. So the easiest way to do here is we use a space to join this element. And for the same thing here is space dot join this result. And this time let's print out JD. Okay, now we have the job description here. If you see \n here, which means a new line, in this environment it won't print out, but if you write that into a text file, it will show the same structure with the original data. Okay, that's pretty much done. Now we need one step. is this is just one page. We want every page in these links, right? We want every page in this link. Let's open another window to say. And another thing is we need a place to store all this information. The best way to store it, because we have a long text here. If you use CSV, which is comma separated file, might generate some error. So for here, we want to use a JSON file to store the results. If you don't know that JSON for now is still okay, you just need to know it's kind of data format. We can store information for web. Let's say the results equal to, let's define that first, equal to empty list. You've already seen that before, right? This is collection list here. And for link in links, so we need to do a follow-up for each links. Let's copy this. We don't have to change a single character, but in Python, just make sure you need the same the same position here. Okay, and after that, we need, for each link, we need to create a dictionary in Python. So 9 equal to this, and we put the information back to the 9 title equal to title 1, and the 9 JD is JD. Okay, so if you don't know this dictionary, this kind of you tell it, I want title, it return this object as a reference structure. So for every time we loop that, we create a dictionary with 2 elements and 2 results. And the last step is we put that element into this result, which we need the results. Results append the 9. Okay, so this is follow. So after everything finished, we can print the results out. Remember, this is just the entry-level course. I won't go to too much detail on something that you need to know further. Here, just give you a taste how to do this. So now we can see some of them has a job description, but some of them doesn't. The title we have here. Let's look at the list ones. Let's add one element here, which is the link. 9, the link. Oh, 9 the link equal to a link. Now we will know which page that has problem, so we can fix the code. So it's kind of a debugging here. I don't want to check the first one. Let's say that JD equal to nothing. Let's look at this page, which is called title is data analyst. Okay, take some time. Let's open another one as well. Yep. Now we get the data analyst. We do have this description, but we didn't get it. The reason is why? The reason is we use the list XPath. List XPath to pass the text. Let's try it to see what happened in this page. I open the XPath to see. That's nothing like this, right? Okay. Let's use Shift to look at the page and scroll down to here. We do have job description text here, But the problem is we get too much detail. Actually, we don't need this detail because we have double slash for the text. Let's try this one with double slash text. Yeah, we can get that. So let's try to modify our code a little bit. So this step is the founding part, also the hard part for web scraping. You always need to struggling with this. And let's do that. To change, the only thing we need to change is remove those div and only keep the from job description tags to tags. What is job description? Tags, yeah, it's same. Let's run this code again. Okay, see, now we have most of them have the job description, which is what you might want to use in your class project if we want to analyze Indeed, right? So this the thing, for linking links. Okay, the last thing is we want to scrape the whole page. This is just one page, remember? We go to this, we go to this link. We only get one page here. How about if we go to the, let's hide the XPath first. Let's go down to see we have page here. It's like the web scraping job here. Let's click on the second page to see what happened. We see, okay, the link changes, but the link is very straightforward. Query equal to data analyst and the location L equal to Toronto, Ontario, and the start with 10, which leaves that, which means we skip 10 posting, but start with the 11 ones. Right? So every page you have 10. The only thing is every time we need to change this code. Let's try that to go to the 100. Let's go down. Yep, now we get to the page 11. So this is the controller, how we control the page. So the only thing now we need is add a for loop for the controller. Okay, let's do a little bit more and we can finish here. Let's add a code. So the URL base equal to this link, but we don't want 100 here. We want it to automatically increase. First is 0, then 10, then 20, then 100. Let's do this thing for I in range 0. Let's say we get the first 20 pages, 200, 210, 210, step by 10. Okay, first let's print that out to see. Print URL base plus. Because this one is a number, we want to convert that into string to I. Okay, let's typo here. See, we get all the pages here. Click on that one. Yeah, we get this one. So now we have the start page. The thing is, we need to do the whole thing before all together. The whole thing before all together. The best way is create a function to do that. But for now, I don't want to go that far. You just need to do all those stuff. So page equal to this. That's the content. And also so we need first the URL, right? So in each loop, we want the URL equal to, we already have the URL. URL should be equal to URL base plus string the I. And then we get a page. We don't need this. We don't need to print that out. And for that, we need to get the job link, which is this part. Job link, right? We get the page. We pass the page. Then we get a link, and now we need to modify the link because we want the domain in the front. So right, we want domain and add domain to links. Now we need another for loop. We don't need to write. We have it here. Okay, but for result, we want to put that into the front because otherwise every for loop we will clean that. So we put the result in the very front to collect the information here. Then what we do is for I in those pages, we scrape the page and get the links. And for each link, we go to the detail page to get the job title, job description, and job link, and append that result to the results. Let's say, let's run that. It might take a, well, let's stop it for a little bit. Let's print the I first, because we want to make sure that this process is running. If there's error, we can go back to check what happened. Say 0, 10. Okay, I will pause the recording here and until it finish, I will continue. Okay, almost done here. Okay, when it stop, which means to stop. Let's open another code to see the results. Now we can see we have a beautiful output here. But here I just get the two elements actually, the title, the job description. If you want to get more, you can practice more on that. And let's count how many jobs we've scraped. It says 319. If you want to get more, you just change these numbers, but make sure the numbers not exceeds the upper bound of the number of pages. Okay. Now we need to write out this result. I can just write out with the JSON file. It's good for me, but for you guys, maybe you want a better format, which is Excel. Let's import another library called pandas, which is very important library in Python. Let's convert the JSON to convert the JSON into a data frame, we call that. You can think that it's kind of Excel file. df equal to pdata JSON normalize the results. Actually, we don't need that. We just need to do data frame results. Let's print that df.header. Okay, see, except first one we get all this title, job description, link. That's perfect. And the thing is, we need to write it out to your file, df2, and the Excel is better because so we have so many punctuation here. To Excel, we give a name which is called indeed out.xlsx, and we don't want this index. So if you don't know what it is, you can leave it. It doesn't matter. You just get an extra column, but normally I don't want this. So index equal to false. Okay, then we run it. It looks like nothing happened, but if you go to this folder icon, and we get this file, And the thing is, you can right click and download file. And let's open that. Okay, perfect. This is the job title and the job description. So it's a little bit longer than what you do before, but if you are familiar with those steps, it will become very handy for you to get information from the internet. It's much better than the free tools, and you can do much more. Also, from this process, will learn uh, you will learn how to use Python and how to pass HTML. Okay, so I will put this Colab link into the below the video, and everyone can just come to here to run that job. Maybe you can just do a little bit of adjustment for that if you but don't do too fast because I didn't set a stop. Normally we should set a sleep between here, and that is remember that's 2 seconds here, but I didn't do that for demo reason. Let's add it here. Import time. Let's add every time we call it, we make a pause time dot sleep 2 seconds. So it won't be too fast to crash the Indeed server, and they won't have problem with you, right? Say what you're doing to hack my website. So that's the best practice to use the code. Okay, now let me save this file. I will share this file with the link in the YouTube, so you can find the link below in the description. Okay, that's all for today. Bye.